Oh, they get real good.
That's what is happening here today. Good morning, good afternoon. I don't know what
Good
time. It don't
day.
matter what time it is. Hello,
Right.
everybody, and welcome to the Real on Parents. And I am your co-host, Coach Kiana Shaw, and
Oh, I
this is
want to say
my
my name now?
co-host. This
Oh,
is
give us a moment,
now
please.
we are in season 87.
Right.
What are we doing?
My apologies. Give me a moment. Therapist Danielle, even though you've been saying it, I don't know what would make the difference now. But
I don't even remember what. So that's my fault then. Because listen, let me tell myself, Kiana, we are in season 87. All right. But anyway, hello, everybody. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for joining us. You know, we always start each show off with some level of shenanigans because Danielle and I don't get to chat and talk and all that. You know, we did talk the other day. Like, we just don't get to chat and talk like we normally do. So when we log on, nobody's around. And so we just be like, chit, 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 chit. And then we forget that we got to go. So it be a thing. But we're here. We are here today,
we
and
are.
we're excited. We're talking about now. See, this gonna ruffle some feathers,
It's gonna
but
ruffle a lot of feathers, girl. It's gonna ruffle all of them.
I think it's gonna ruffle more men's feathers because we're talking about married single moms.
Mm. Say it again.
Married single moms.
Yes, and it's a
This
lot of.
means that you are married, right? It could be to
However,
your child's other parent. It could be that, you are married to somebody that's new to the situation, right? And having a blended family, but you still doing it all by yourself.
about 99.99%. Mm-hmm.
Now, listen, wherever you are, I have a blinking ministry. So if you feel us, but you can't testify, you can't really be like, oh, let me tone in. This is an amen moment. Just blink. And sisters around the world will know that you with us, okay?
Yes. Yes. Exactly. We will know. We know,
Right.
sis. Okay.
Because as we talk about the things that and so I don't want to leave the fellas out. Fellas, let me tell you something. If your wife feels like she is still a single parent, because not and I get like, don't get into the details and the semantics. Like, what we're saying is she feels like she's doing it all, as if you may as well not be there outside of, killing a bug, or
That's important
night
though. But
the nighttime activities that we enjoy so much, right? And so outside of those two things, but if she's doing everything else by herself, the cooking, the laundry, putting the dishes away, feeding the
the
kids, like,
cleaning,
because cooking versus feeding the kids is very different. Like, let's because plating, making sure the dishes are cleaned up afterwards, putting the food away, those are all very different tasks, right?
El
Um,
chauffeur, the chauffeuring, the planning, the event stuff,
Come
the
on here.
scheduling of appointments to make sure everyone's well. If you got
Hmm.
fur animals and pets, they need food and appointments too.
Right. So if she feel like she doing it all, or if you just know that you're not doing all of your part, I want you
Or
to tune in.
consistently. Or consistently.
Right. Or you giving an attitude when you do it.
Yes.
Because I think that sometimes we forget that there are so many pieces to everything we do. And so real quick, Danielle, because I was having this conversation, um, mentally, my mind is always in 80 different places,
Yes, the
right?
tabs. I said my brain function in tabs.
But like, if I'm in the kitchen and I'm getting ready to start dinner, but there's dishes in the sink, I got to do those first, right?
Yes.
So in my brain, like how things function, when I walk into the kitchen, it needs to already be clean. That means that the dishes have to already been washed, dried, put
Put
away,
away.
right? The
Put away.
stove has to already be clean. I'm talking
Yeah.
about the range, you know what I mean? You got to, because when I turn on that burner, I don't want to smell yesterday's food. You understand what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, I don't like that.
We
It
had that
throws me off
yesterday.
because as I'm cooking, all of my senses are engaged. When I know that the butter and garlic has gotten to a certain aroma, I know it's time. So if I gotta smell the last night's food that got spilled, It don't work. You understand what
It
I'm saying?
matters. All this matters and is important, very much
All the
so.
counters gotta be clean. Like I'm literally like thinking through my head, like as I'm
I
like
see
how
it.
am I
I
walking?
see it. Okay, I'm
All the counters
visualizing it
have to
for
be
you.
cleaned already. The table mats on the table that we about to sit at have to be clean
Yes,
already. The microwave door, like, because I'm standing, the microwave is above the
range. Yeah,
stove.
yeah, yeah.
My ADD is gonna kick in if that stuff, you know what I mean? So once I see that it's a dirt like on the handle or something, you know what I mean? Then
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna open it and now I gotta see what's going on
No,
inside the
inside.
microwave.
Yeah,
Now the plate
yeah.
gotta come out. I gotta clean out the microwave. It's too much
Yes,
when I'm
yes.
just trying to cook a meal. Like we making
Mm-hmm.
tacos, but all this gotta be done. Yes, I'm barefoot in my house a lot. So I can't, and the dog don't do his part in house cleaning either because his little pebbles every time he
What's
eat,
the what's
he
your dog
grab
supposed to
it
do?
because he's supposed to pick up his pebbles. If I'm walking, because he grabs the food and then he puts it on the side of his bowl.
But he just wants to just go back and eat it because it's food.
He listen, because what is your responsibility to the household? If I'm stepping on little doggy pebbles,
Pick
you're
up
not
after
doing your
himself.
part of the housework. So, so
Oh
the floor has
goodness.
to be swept and it got to be mopped
Yeah.
because once you sweep it, like I feel like I can still feel little particles. Like, you know what I mean? I don't want to
No,
feel
they
lint
be there.
on
They
my
be
feet.
there. Mm-hmm. They be
Lint on
there.
my feet. I don't like it. And so this is before I even and I do not cook with the trash can full.
Okay.
Cause that's I it's so yeah. So that's what I'm saying when I
I
say
get it.
it's a
I
million
understand.
different
I just
things
don't
going
like trash
on.
in the trash can. I know that's my specialness. It's like when they
Look,
get to a
I get
certain length, a
that.
certain field, it's like, oh, it's time to
The trash
empty.
gotta go out. I don't like grabbing the handles and they're sticky or you know what I'm saying? Like so
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
before I cook, I gotta clean the handles because I'm gonna have to open that drawer. If I touch something, now I gotta wash my hands again. So I just go
Wash your
ahead,
hands.
clean all of that before I start
Mm-hmm.
cooking.
Yes.
So the cabinet drawers have to, the refrigerator door handle has like it's all these different things. And this is before I start cooking. I
Yeah.
think that a lot of people function that way. I don't think that we're abnormal at all. But I think that a lot of
I think there's a
men,
good percentage. I think there's a good
I'm gonna say
percentage.
a lot of people.
There's a good percentage. Yeah, I hear a lot of stuff. So I'm just saying, a lot of it don't line up with what you're talking about. But however, my personal experience is, I'll say a good percentage. Okay, I hear a lot of stories. I'm just saying, been in a lot of homes. I'm just saying. So,
I get it. I get it.
but
But
however,
as we move forward in the conversation,
right.
my point
However,
is as we are moving and as we're shaking and doing all the things that we got to do, I don't think that the other parent, right? There's typically one parent who's doing all this, and then the other parent who is just like, all you doing is making tacos. Like, just
right.
make the taco. But I can't make the tacos if, the oil ain't in the right place. I can't, like, I can do it, but now I have all these extra steps. And so I
Right.
spend time on the front end organizing so that I can just move and everything is seamless and then I can clean up as I go. But
Mm-hmm.
when I have chaos in the beginning, it creates chaos on the back end, right?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
don't know that I'm gonna say men. I hate to say men. I don't know that men necessarily see it that way. I think that they are like, we're making tacos. There's meat, there's cheese,
The food's there, basically. Right. It's all in the
there's
refrigerator. It's
shells.
all in the cabinet.
Right. They're not thinking of onions. They're not thinking of cilantro and tomato. And like they're not thinking of,
But I'm also
before we start
thinking
making the
of
tacos, we pull the sauces out so that they can start room temperaturing so that they're not
right.
freezing and cooling the food off. That's what I'm saying. There's a
But also
million
with
things that
that,
we're
if
thinking
you
about.
pull back and look at the bigger picture, it's like how many hours have you worked already so far? Right. So that they if you're listening and you don't see the visuals, Coach Kiana had an aha moment. So
No,
for all of
it
us,
wasn't an
for all
aha
of us,
moment.
it was
Wait, that was an aha moment for me. I missed the aha moment. What I was just like,
well,
right,
uh,
we working and it's too much. That was that.
right. Well, then let me give it something else. That was let me pause before I say what I'm thinking. There we go. That more aligned with
Oh,
what was
okay.
going on.
That
But
sounds more
with
like
that,
it.
so when you think of when you hear the word married single mom. Sometimes for a lot of people, it may really kind of just go over your head.
Right.
Others may be like, huh. Others may be like, girl, is that me? Yes, 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 sis. Mm-hmm.
We're just talking
That,
about the absence of help when we say
right,
married single
right,
mom. The
right,
absence of help when you have a partner, but it's not 50-50. When you have a partner and it's not even 75-25. When you
right.
have a partner and they act like, like they don't even do the every other weekend in the house. Just saying.
So,
That's a lot. That is a lot.
so I mean, and given everyone does have their preferred
Hmm.
ideal setup on. With my husband, he does like the kitchen spick and span clean and how he cooks. And we've been together for over 20 years. So I've learned and
Okay. Can we
accepted. I
talk
gotta put
about
that
the
up there. I That's my disclaimer, okay? So
can we
don't
talk
try
about
it,
his
okay?
aha moment?
Is that I've learned to accept that when he cooks, the kitchen is going to look like a tsunami. Hit it a couple of times and
You're
the
not gonna do
earthquake.
my brother like that.
So, but he has gotten better. So with me, there is that, okay, things need to be in a certain place. As I'm
Hmm.
cooking, I'm doing what? Cleaning. Because once I'm done, I'm done. And that was a conversation. Sometimes they were very simple and no emotions tied to it. Other times it was like, well, damn, didn't we have this? And vice versa. He's like, didn't we have this? And I'm like, we sure did. Because after working so many hours, real life be in the room, right? Like
Absolutely.
every conversation isn't pretty. I'm not saying disrespectful. That's what I'm not saying. However, life does happen, and but there needs to be this conversation. And when there isn't the
Right.
conversation, it falls on and let's just be clear, we are speaking to those marriages, not relationships, and not downing anyone's situation.
Right.
We
Right.
are speak. The topic is those mothers who are married yet functioning as a single mom. That was my grandmother.
Hmm.
It made me think of it was a post where a lady was speaking to the fact of men, why would you want your wife to function in the way that your mother did? Your mother did that because she had to, not
Right.
because she wanted to. And now here is your wife,
Right.
and you have this expectation of your wife in the role that your mom performed in, functioned in because she had to. She didn't say
Yes.
get your ass up, but I'm saying get your ass up. She didn't say that. I'm saying
And Danielle did not say that to her husband. I want to go
that.
ahead and be clear about
You
that.
know, had other loving words. but with that, but there's a lot of emotions that come with this. There's a
Right.
lot of feelings and thoughts that come across. First of all, you irritated. You're irritated, irritate girl, irritation
Irritation.
quickly is frustrating. You're
Yeah.
overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And when anyone is feeling any feeling that don't feel good, we can't think straight. Granted, if you mama and you function in tab mode, your thought process is already a bit shaky. So you adding these
Absolutely.
extra emotions, but emotions and feelings that don't necessarily have to be present in that way. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be that way. It
Right.
heightens that frustration. It
Absolutely.
heightens that being overwhelmed. And then there's anxiety. It's like
Absolutely.
if you get to burning stuff and dropping stuff, and this is what that's what it looks like physically is.
But let's talk about like what's going on the back end. Because you
Yeah,
mentioned overwhelm, you mentioned burnout, you mentioned
yeah, I mentioned a
anxiety.
lot of stuff.
And the
Yeah,
thing is that it's because you're constantly juggling all the duties
multiple
yourself.
things.
right?
Yes.
And so it's
Yes.
like, okay, I'm trying to get this done. I gotta cook before we go to practice because after practice the kids are starving. And then if I gotta wait and cook and it's too much. So we're constantly juggling all the things. Like I said, I go in the
Multiple
kitchen
things.
and it's a billion things that have to be done that should already be done. Typically, they're already done, right? But
Typically,
when they're
yeah.
not, it throws off the process because
Yes.
if I got to do it, it creates too much of a situation, right? Now, for me as a single woman, right? Meaning like I am not married and there is no one
Yes.
else in my home other than me and my daughter. I've had to teach her, here's your part,
Right.
right? But when you are married, and I have been married before, and I am getting married again. So shout out to my boo. Hey, you put a ring on it.
Yes. Yeah. We say
Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
Like the
Hmm.
conversation about the duties, right? Like we had a real conversation because I was like, listen, like when we merge and blend these families,
What are
this
you
is what it looks
expecting?
like. This is what it looks like to me. What
And
does
so
it
I'm gonna
look like to
pause you
you?
right quick, but the key is a conversation was had. There are so
Yes.
many people who are blinded by the ring, blinded
Come
by
on
the
here,
ceremony, blinded by the thing that everybody gets to see,
honey.
and
And
not
2 days into
what,
marriage, them blinders come off, honey.
yeah, and not the realities of what your day to day within your marriage is going to be. So there's people who've been married for decades who
Come on
have yet to
here.
still have this conversation. So have it, and even
Right.
if you are, it doesn't mean that you don't have it. You need to have it. And if you're in a place to where you're with someone or if you guys have had that conversation in regards to
Facts.
getting married, the conversation needs to happen now. What is your expectations? What is my expectations? And we need to talk about this.
Hmm. Absolutely. And having the conversation is not about like, oh my God, like I got to tell you all the things. Here's your list of things. No,
Right.
because there's some things that one of us is not good at on any given topic, right?
Correct.
Kayla can go around and clean all the knobs and the door handles on the refrigerator and all
Yeah,
that
that's
so
at
that
her
that don't have
level.
to
Yeah,
be.
because all
You
I've been.
understand what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? She can
Mm-hmm.
clean the counters.
Mm-hmm.
And then we split the other stuff. Like
Yeah.
when he here, I'm not taking out the trash, sir. I'm thinking, and
I look
I
at trash
appreciate the
like,
fact that I never have to ask. Like
right. Hey, good job, boo. Mm-hmm.
now,
Hubby.
I
Mm-hmm.
will
No,
set
no
it out
longer
the
boo. Now
door.
hubby.
Like
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Makes a
he
difference.
like, oh, it's already out here. Huh? Okay, I just got here.
Correct. Let him. Don't come over this household. You take it out, it's filled again. That's an ongoing joke my husband had. It's like I just took it out. Like I didn't even the door's not even closed good. Well, it was more trash that needed to go in the trash can.
And so when we look at it like that, it's like you're stressed out because you're doing it all yourself.
By
Like all these responsibilities, they lead to that emotional exhaustion, right? Yesterday,
I
I was like, Kayla's not here. The dog ain't here, honey. Listen, okay. I was telling my fiance like I am operating in the space of overwhelm right now, and I know that I'm exhausted. I know
yes.
that mentally it's so much going on, business
Right.
wise, family wise.
Right.
Kayla and her sports stuff because we are back in basketball, y'all, and let me tell
It
you.
ain't for the weak.
Remember
So
last year's basketball situation where I wasn't allowed to cheer? I
I
was in
vividly
trouble.
remember the sign. Okay,
Baby,
so
listen,
we're
I
gonna
was in
follow directions this
trouble.
season, right?
No, 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 honey. I'm still loud with my papa. I did not bring the bullhorn, but I was like, y'all ain't listening to me. So clearly I need my bull. Anyway, so that's not, I'm saying it's one more task. It's
Task.
one more
Right.
task.
Right.
And I was talking to Kayla's dad and I was like, Kayla says she need indoor basketball shoes and outdoor basketball shoes.
And
Well,
that's
I don't
correct.
know what the meaning is.
Yes,
So
she's
he was
correct. She's not
explaining
lying.
it. He was
Hmm.
explaining it, and then he was like, "I'll get her shoes." And I was like, "Well, no, because she need them for tomorrow." And so now I'm buying the shoes, and now I'm like, oh, now I gotta pay. And then I said, "Why didn't just let him buy the shoes? You could have bought one pair." And then let him buy the other pair instead of you buying both pairs. And now you like, oh man, I done put this much money. You did that to
Right.
yourself, ma'am.
Right. And we do that. And we
We do.
do that. We do. So there's things. So we can. While we mumbling and fussing, we wiping them counters, right? But where the conversation, because we all do it, you know what I mean? Like it
Absolutely.
happens, that's reality. But there is that part where you pause and you be like, okay, and I'll say pause. If you are a person who cannot keep the same volume while you're speaking in the moment, then you pause and take a breath and continue to clean them counters, okay? You just wait till
Listen,
you've had some time to decompress from the day. You didn't have your relax and shower, and you're a bit more relaxed, then have that conversation. You
right.
best, okay? Because the thing is, these conversations is we are saying need to happen, but you and you know your spouse. So be mindful in when you're having the conversations, because regardless, some feelings are going to come up
Yes.
regardless. But you need to be in a space to where you're able to regulate. If
Right.
you are going from 0 to 25 to 50 to 100, no.
Dial it back. And then also, as women, I think that we need to recognize when we are creating our
Yes.
overwhelm. Because again, I was
Ooh.
like, why didn't just get one pair and let him buy the other, right? Because both
Mm.
coming out of my household budget can create a tight situation depending on what the
What's
situation is.
going on? Going right.
Because listen, I like also we can't get basketball shoes from Ross. We
No,
gotta
stop.
we gotta go to Nike. We gotta go to Under Armour.
Clearly,
Okay.
we do not have an athlete in the house.
Because I don't understand that. They made in the same factory.
If
Okay.
anything,
But
go on Amazon, okay? At least you ain't even got to drive.
yeah, but then I gotta go back and send stuff back if it don't fit. Because these kids' shoe sizes, they're never the same. But my
Oh my
point is,
goodness. Yes, that's hilarious.
my point
My
is sometimes we
cocaine.
can create our own overwhelm, right?
Yes,
We
that's
sign
very
the
true.
kids up for all these things, never talking to the other parent. Right?
Say
We have
that.
signed them up for
Yes.
6 or 7 things, and now we mad that they're not participating and running them all. Well, then we have a conversation with them beforehand. Before
Hmm.
we start saying you got to be responsible for running them to this.
To this and that. Right, right, right.
I did
Right.
karate. I did basketball. I did basketball for a very brief time, as you could probably see. But we did karate. I was in drill team. Um, it wasn't a Girl Scout, but like we had like after school youth program
Yeah.
and things like that.
Yeah.
So when we signed up, our parents had to figure out who was going to do
Who's
what.
gonna do what? Right,
And
right.
if my mother, if she, a lot of stuff we did, my dad was already over like some level of the program, right? Because we
Hmm. Hmm.
participated in the sheriff athletic league stuff, the youth athletic league with the
Hmm.
sheriff
Hmm.
department. He was a deputy, so that was a little bit easier because he had a little bit
Right.
more flexibility, or But
Right.
my mom didn't get off till 6, so he couldn't be like, well, I need you to get off at 3 and take the kids and then go back all the way downtown. Like that wasn't a thing. So
Hmm.
anything he signed us up for, he had to be
He
able
had
to
to take
manage
on.
how to get
Right.
us back and forth. But I think sometimes we sign them up because they want to do stuff and then we go, well, I don't want to do it all. Well, how come you?
Yeah.
Well, listen, if when I signed Kayla up for different sports and things like that, I have to say, babe, that's a weekend, and I can't obligate your dad to do this. I can't
Right.
like so if they
Right.
practice on the weekends, that means you would either miss hanging out with your dad that weekend, or it means that we got to be conscious of the distance because we live 60 miles from your dad, right? And
Right.
so him coming and traveling to your game and all that stuff, that becomes an issue.
Right.
So
There's the
I have to
semantics
be
of it all.
mindful when I say yes. How am I going to get her back and forth? How am I going to
Right.
manage this without feeling like I'm being isolated because I
Right.
got to do it all by myself? Well, you signed up to do it.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And I think a lot of women do that. I
Right.
remember it was I got it. I got it. I got it. And it got to a
Right.
point where my husband was like, okay, well, you got it. So I'm no longer are going to even actually ask
Try.
to
Right.
help or try because it's
Because we
not
train
being
people
done.
real easy. We pray and people get like, oh,
Right.
you okay?
Exactly.
Real
And then
quick.
it
They be
got
like,
to a
I'm
point,
good.
right. And then it got it. I could not even think straight. Okay. You ask me something. I'm like, okay, and go to answer. And while I'm answering your question, I don't forgot what I'm talking about. That clearly was like, sis, sit down and stop it right now. And it took some years, a good handful, about 5, for me to get, maybe 4.5, but still, that's a lot of years for me to say, okay, I don't got it. And
Right.
however you wash the towels, that's how they're gonna be washed. Okay,
Listen, my
because they
niece
clean.
just had a baby, and I was like, let her father help. If he
Yes,
put the diaper on backwards, let it be
he'll
as long as the
figure it
diaper not
out,
on the baby's
right?
head,
As long as
okay?
that butthole in our front is covered
Let
in whatever
him
way it's
help.
covered, right? And so that goes to that part of, a lot of times we create this. We
Mhm.
we 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 play a significant part in this dynamic in which our marriage is in. And being
Yes.
honest with yourself and identifying that, but also saying that. I know
Hmm.
you've offered to help and I've said this, or I've done this, or you've done it and I've gone back and did it correctly. Take ownership for the part that you play within that. And
Yes.
so we talked about being overwhelmed. We talked about being, the burnout. And even though it's self-inflicted, you know what I mean? We still feel those feelings. You can have resentment. And I think we all understand what that means. You having your mental internal conflict arguments,
Right.
in regards to whatever burden you want to give it at that time. And that makes it difficult to be a present parent, to be honest,
Right.
because you're physically doing all these things in whichever way it came up. But however, mentally, you're somewhere else as well. You're in your head,
Yes.
and so you're not emotionally available.
And can we talk about how unfair that is to a spouse?
And it's very unfair. It's
It's
not
very
okay,
unfair.
and it's not fair.
And I think that, because we start off like it's gonna ruffle some men's feathers. And I think that we were talking about just how much work needs to be done that you're not
Mhm.
participating in. But
But the
we
other
cannot
aspect,
hold men we cannot hold men accountable for the conversations we are having in our minds. Because since the beginning of time, men have never been able to read our minds, and it ain't gonna be okay to try to start making them do it now.
right?
Let's go and put that out there. So if we
If
are
that was the case, they wouldn't get married to have these women. I'm just
right,
saying.
listen, now how we relay the information to him is important, right? Because
Very much so.
when we get mad and start cussing, now we have disrespected the marriage. We have disrespected
Right,
our partner.
right.
There are other ways. Ladies, it's not manipulation, it is godly wisdom. Babe, when I got
Yeah,
to
the way.
do all of this, show them the checklist, right? When I have to do all of this, and don't just say clean the kitchen. Don't, like you got to give every little detail for
Right.
cleaning the kitchen. I just named a whole bunch of stuff. You could
You
probably add
sure
more.
did. And if you don't know, and just go ahead and write down the notes because
Right,
she broke it down. Okay.
right. So I named like you got to put all that on there, and then you have to
Yeah.
say, when I got to do all of this, I really don't have the energy for the nighttime activity. That's gonna motivate him to start figuring it out. He gonna help you because he want the
He,
nighttime activity. Now,
yes, yes.
when I get to bed and I'm exhausted, babe, I fall asleep hard, and now sleep becomes work in a sense. So I don't wake up rested. So then I'm not really in the mood for morning activity.
Right. Or the night activities, correct.
You better not wake me up at midnight. And I'd say, like, so I get a cat nap, and now sir, you arrested. I am not.
Right.
So when
Right.
you put it that way, then they start
Yes.
going, well, let me help a little bit. So saying it respectfully, saying it in a
Yes.
way that they comprehend. Listen,
Right.
and I know this from being married before, but I also know this from listening to married couples. When that pillow talk, when y'all in euphoria, okay? I'm just in case y'all got
Yes.
kids in the room. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that pillow talk after the euphoria is very important.
So I
What
would
are
say
you
it's
saying
very
during that
important.
time? Because
Yes, it's
that's when
very
they're open to
important.
listening. Babe,
Mm-hmm.
we could do this a lot more if, babe, I would enjoy this more if,
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
Right.
utilize your space.
Right, right. Another helpful aspect, though, is that you're so she tickled. Okay, y'all.
I am tickled because I feel like it's so simple, but we be missing it as women
Yes.
because we're so like, and we're used to other women like hyping us up. And I was just talking to this about this with Latoya and Camila. We as women, I have friends who are very much no nonsense, right? Like y'all
Mm-hmm.
see me, y'all know who therapist Danielle is, right? Okay. Friends who are very much no nonsense. So I don't have there are things that can go on in our circle, and we're very quick to tell each other that's hey, knock it off. That's not okay. Right?
Mm-hmm.
As friends, we are honest with each other about things that we are doing wrong. How, I
Oh,
said
you
something
need
to
to
Camila the
adjust.
other day, and she was like, no, 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 don't you say that to him
Mm-hmm.
like that. Right.
Right,
And I was like,
right,
oh, wait, because I already said it. So now I got to go back and apologize. Like, hey, babe,
right. You need to
remember
acknowledge
when I
that.
said,
Right, exactly. And you do.
my approach was wrong. But if you have people egging you on, like, yeah, he leaving you to do everything, versus someone saying, hey, here's how you communicate that.
Right, exactly.
Here's how you
Exactly.
say, babe, let's look at it from a different point of view. Then we can talk about it in a way that does not create the gap in our,
This,
you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, but create that
I saw a
tension. It's
video and the guy was talking about the gap in marriages. It's like, here's something that I did that offended you, and you
mhm,
waited days before you
days.
said anything to me. Well, in that gap of time span, is that woman at his job that always comes in smelling pretty. In the gap is that work husband, right? In the gap are those bills, and all of that is creating more of a gap, even though it's still on in the same time
Mhm.
span. It's
Right,
creating a
right.
spiritual, emotional, and mental gap when really you just needed help with the doggone dishes. Just say that.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes me think of in regards to the
I'm a,
silent treatment as well. Like they supposed to know and figure it out.
can we
Even if
acknowledge
you
that the
have
silent treatment is emotional abuse?
right, as well
We're not
as
okay.
innuendoing. Innuendo is not a conversation. So we've kind of
You're
spoken
gonna have to break
about
that down. Cause somebody's gonna be like, that's not the same. Go and break that down.
the innuendoing. If you did not specifically say what the issue is, what
Hmm.
you're having difficulty with, how he can help, what you're
Right.
asking for him to do, then there was no conversation that happened.
Exactly. So can we stop with the subliminal messages
Right.
throughout the house?
Right, right, right. And so with that though, it's like some of us, the way that our brains work is that we may need to be front loaded. And
Mm,
what that means is that you are given the information to prepare you of what to expect next.
yes,
So
yes.
for my husband, he's really not a front loader. However, I am, okay? I can run down the whole month, okay? Within one breath, he'd be like, wait a minute, that's a lot, okay? So I've had to learn to adjust in regards to how I provide the information to him. So
Right.
tomorrow, we went from 31 days to one. Hey, but something's better than nothing, right? And it's like tomorrow, tomorrow, yeah, this because it's a journey. It is a
Yes.
journey, and then within that, life is happening. There's all these things that's happening. It's just that doesn't allow you to just focus on
Right.
being the wife, being the husband. There's all these other things you're juggling. However, tomorrow's Monday. These are the things that needs to be done. This is what my schedule looks like. What does your schedule look like? Because sometimes it's not like, oh, you do this because you're this person, or you do this because you're that person.
Come on
It's
here.
what does the schedule look like for tomorrow? What does the schedule look like for this week? And I
And
like
link
to,
your calendars because
well,
the family
for
stuff
those
in
who
the
follow the
calendars. Yeah.
calendar, every month, if you don't know, I'm a planner, okay? I got multiple. Any type of calendar that's on the phone that you can have, guess what? Therapist Danielle got it. However, my husband wants no part of a calendar, a link, a note, none of it. When I say I've tried it all, Miss Kiana, I didn't try to sneak. He ain't even looked at it. So if you have a
You don't you
partner
don't install the app on his phone.
and then and you were like, oh, I didn't even know that was over there. Girl, it's been 2 months. About to have me cuss. Let me pull it back because my brain. But yeah, so you may if you have where your spouse actually looks
Oh
at the
my God.
calendar, just know that you're blessed. You're blessed. For our planner people who rely on the calendar in more than one, and your spouse
Hmm.
does not.
Because see, if it's not on my calendar, it does not exist. So my daughter will say, "Mom, put this on your calendar," which reminds me, I got a couple of things I need to calendar. But so you see,
Yes.
I'm already pulling out my post-it notes, honey. Like,
No, it's okay. It's
let me
okay. But
write this
within
down.
that, you don't, girl, I got mine right. Girl, I got my
I
calendars
done
right
threw
here.
off my,
Anyway,
I done lost my train of thought because I was like, "Oh, I didn't
yeah,
calendar that. Let me."
yeah. So, but it goes down to what's realistic for how I function and how my spouse functions.
Hmm.
So for me, I do and still do have all the sticky notes and all the calendars. However, my husband's not going to consistently remember to look at the calendar.
Yes.
So it's like tomorrow this is going on. Or if it's a slower week or there's highlighted days, specifying those days and what his day looks like as far as things that he needs to do. And okay, who would be in the space or the capacity to take care of these things? And
Yes.
sometimes that's a weekly conversation. Sometimes that's a monthly conversation. But however, the key point of it is a consistent conversation, communication, check
Y'all,
in.
if y'all hear me peeling off stuff, it's because I'm putting these post-its everywhere.
And we do, but we understand that you do what you're supposed to do. You she's following the steps, I
Yes.
mean the recommendation. But within that, it allows for there to be less tension. There isn't this unexpected, where did that come
Hmm.
from? And
Right.
where I literally can have all these things in my head, my mind, and I've set up these things with boom, 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 boom,
Yes.
but my hubby don't even know. So how are you supposed to know that? And I'm like, you didn't check the calendar? No, I don't say that no more, but I used to, but because I know he didn't. So
Yes.
so those conversations, and even also saying it'll be helpful if it'll be
Hmm.
helpful if will get you a long way. It don't mean your spouse gonna like it, but it can get
Right.
you a long way. It'll be helpful if you can take care of dinner tonight because I'm not getting off of work until 6. I forgot I had another appointment, which means I'm not getting home till about 7:38.
Hmm. So I also want to say that with the it'll be helpful if there's also the not instead of and I'm thinking because yeah, with my fiance, I'm purposely not saying his name, but with my fiance, it'd be helpful if you could do this tonight because that's only gonna work so many times.
Okay.
So we gotta plan it a little bit more in advance. So I can
Okay.
say it'd be helpful if this week,
Right.
right?
Right.
Have
Yeah.
that
Being specific.
conversation on the Sunday when y'all chilling before the game come on or whatever the case may be. Like it'd be helpful if this week you could take care of these responsibilities. It'd be helpful if this week and sometimes I don't like saying it'd be helpful if like, hey, here's what we need and like let me know which ones you able to do.
but it goes,
Here go my
but
calendar.
right. But it goes back down to you knowing your spouse.
Right, right. And
So
still saying it respectfully. Even like in my head,
exactly.
I'd be like, okay, this is what I can't do. But right, but that don't mean that he
But
has
what's
the
coming?
capacity to do it. He has children. You know what I mean? Like he be tired. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Yes.
like,
Yes.
okay, well then we gonna have to just swallow our spit and go on to bed because we all gonna be because
Because I
we
remember
too.
a phase of parenting. I don't need to eat. I just need to close my
Listen,
eyes. I need to close them lids. Okay. I
thankfully
could not
Kayla can
eat for
cook.
2 days and I didn't even have a thought about it. You know what I mean? I think we all been in that phase of parenting. And everybody else like, what's for dinner? I
And
don't know
she
what's for
like put a
dinner
little
because I
extra
don't need
toothpaste on
food.
your toothbrush. You be all right. You be
Right. So that goes back to that. That goes back to that space of no sense of knowing your spouse in the way that they communicate. We all do communicate differently, but
yes.
also keeping in mind that it needs to be respectful. You don't want him or her, or well, your spouse is coming at you sideways Be respectful.
Absolutely.
So, and I want to say that we gave various examples, which can be, I think that feel that it can apply to many people. But
Hmm.
within that, I won't say have moments, girl, be honest all the time, but make sure that you are vulnerable in the
Right.
sense of me functioning in this way, doing these things along with my work, along with my business, along with the kids' activities, along with me trying to put me on the to-do list. I ain't done for me yet, but I'm trying to just get me on the list. It's stressful. It's too
Yeah.
much. I
Yes. You
cannot
got to
do
take
this
care of
every
yourself.
single day. I don't
Mhm.
have time for myself. All my people who know me personally, Danielle, not the therapist, Danielle, she be on hiatus for 3 or 4 months. I'm good. I am a-okay. I'm just enjoying my life by myself,
Right.
minding my business before it was even a phrase. So
Right.
there's that part of needing to pour back into your cup. Your day and your week should not always be scheduled with something. Don't get me wrong. As far as
Whew.
parenting, there's a
Yeah.
likely chance that a lot of that goes against what I just said. However, put you on the to-do list. But there needs to be that conversation of I cannot even put me on the to-do list to rest, to enjoy my friends, to enjoy
Right.
us, So having that conversation, I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed. This is too much.
Yeah.
I'm feeling anxious
And also we all process anxiety differently,
differently.
right?
Yes, yes,
What I
yes.
have noticed is that I'm encouraging him, go hang out with your friends. Like you literally work so many hours. Like go, go do something that you absolutely enjoy, whether it's by
Enjoy.
yourself, go
Yes.
to a movie by yourself, take yourself to dinner, take yourself
Yes.
to the
Time
beach.
alone. That's me. Yes.
Right, because at the house, it's a lot of moving pieces, right? And we don't
Mm-hmm.
we don't live together, but there's so many moving pieces within our households. And that's why last night I was like, my kid and the dog gone. I'm gonna be at the house by myself.
Yeah.
I
Yes. Because
missed
you
him,
can.
but I'm about to
Yeah.
be at the house by myself.
Right, right. But it goes down to those boundaries,
Yes.
And even
And
though you're
then
not
being mindful, because I think some of us get jealous when our husband has something else to do,
to do,
right? Like he's playing golf, he's playing basketball, he's whatever it is, whatever your
he's
husband's
doing
thing
whatever
is.
he's doing. Right, right,
Some
right,
of
right.
us are like, well, why you gotta go by yourself? Well, how come you can't be on the phone with me while you do it? It's not a long time if he gotta be with you. It's not a long time for me if I gotta do it with you. I want to do it alone. That's why
Alone.
it's
Right.
called
That's
alone
right.
time. Right. Like
Right,
it's
right.
but a
That's
lot of
a
people
whole
don't
nother
process that.
conversation. Right.
It
But that goes
is.
to another conversation in
It
regards
does.
to loving yourself. That's a whole nother conversation.
Facts.
But however, that's setting the boundary. It's setting a boundary. It can be once a month. And I used to do this. I need to go back to it. Once a month, I delegated and obligated myself to nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. And I picked a day, and if anything popped up in regards to that day, I cannot do that on that date. And my husband knew it as
That's
well.
hard.
Don't ask me to go nowhere, even if you feel it's enjoyable. No, what I choose to do on that day is what I choose on that day, but I'm not obligating myself. So, and
Right.
there was within that, there is that respect. And it sounds minimal, but that's what that is. So
Hmm.
if you have your spouse, we're like, oh, you okay? Can you change to another date? No, I need you to respect what I just told you.
Right.
And within that, I'm also telling you what I need. So disregarding that is disrespectful. It's like, are you really wanting what's the best for me? I'm not saying every single weekend, oh, the therapist said it. No, 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 no. You have to
Hmm.
do what's within the means of your family dynamic.
And I have always admired that about you because
Because
you
I ain't
do
doing
not.
it. That's just me. Girl, I said what I said. I ain't doing it. Mm-mm.
Well, I was speaking more on the fact that you don't lose yourself in motherhood and wifehood. Like you very much make sure that you connect with Danielle, right? And not coach Danielle, not I mean not therapist Danielle, not the responsible like you know what I mean? Like you're like, hey, all those things today, I'm just Danny. Today, I'm gonna make sure that I'm not cooking today. Like I suggest y'all
Right.
figure like here go what I want today. Make sure it comes to the house. Right.
Right.
And
Right.
I
Right.
love that because I think sometimes we get so caught up in being the other person. And I had to realize
And we do. We do.
this is something that I realized recently because when my fiance is around, I be like, I ain't doing nothing else. Right? Like if I got an assignment, if I'm supposed to be putting something together, it just don't get done. Because I like being like my whole nervous system resets when he's around. And
Mm.
what I realize is a lot of times when I'm working, I am hiding in my work.
Mm. So that's a whole girl. Say that
Right.
again, but that's a whole another
I
show.
am
But say it again for the
hiding.
therapist in me, okay?
Come on here. Because I'm hiding in my work. And what happens is when I am hiding in my work, I am not conscious of the fact that I am creating my own burnout. So when he's around and I get to breathe, I don't have to be in charge of anything. You know what I'm saying? Like it's different.
It
It's
is. It
different. When
is.
I'm cooking, it's a different level of joy. And I love cooking for Kayla, but it's a different level of joy when I'm cooking for
Cook for
him as
him.
well.
Yeah.
It's a different
Yeah.
level of joy. And so for me, I was like, I hide in my work. I'm always busy. Now, there are seasons where I can't hide in my work because literally I can't breathe
Right.
because
Right.
and I've had to prepare him for that. Like from this month to this
Season.
month,
Yeah. I mean,
you're gonna be
those
like,
seasons. Mm-hmm.
do I even
Mm-hmm.
have a woman? Because,
Right. Right.
sir,
Right. But it comes
I'm
down to that
busy. I have
communication.
20-hour days from this
Right.
point to this point.
Right.
You're gonna be
Right.
like,
And
where
be
is
like, and
she?
during that time frame, it's all you, boo. You know what I mean?
It's all
And
you.
right.
Hmm.
And so to speak to that in regards to me not losing myself, I did and I have. And that's where that came from.
Right.
Between I couldn't think straight, to the stress, to the anxiety, to the resentment, to the frustration, to the overwhelm, to all of it, to where it was like debilitating. Girl, what nothing getting done? I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm doing this. Did you do that? And, it's like,
Busy all day and nothing accomplished. Yeah.
stop. And I
All
said,
day.
okay, because I was saying my daughter at that time, she was about 3.5. And I said, I cannot do this in this way anymore. And part of it was I created, not because my husband wasn't doing it, it was because I created it. I was making myself a married single mom, and I did not
Mm.
have to. So I had to swallow
I
that
feel like we
hard
ruffling
truth,
more women's feathers right now than we
because
are.
we have to speak about that. You know what I mean? We
Yes.
all have had our
I
own
love it.
upbringings and all that, but I had to say no more,
Yeah.
because to the point in migraines and I'm sick, my physical body was shutting down.
Mm.
I had no energy to even do fun things with my children because I'm doing all
Right.
the other stuff.
Right.
So I said, okay, for me, at least once a month, something is better than nothing. And then it ended
Yes.
up going to twice a month. And then I started to find me, and I said, okay, I think this can work. I was trying to stick 3 in there, but 3 wasn't realistic when we had a whole full house. So, but it came from that
Right, because I
experience.
forgot, like it wasn't just the three of you. Like you have
We
a
had a
blended
full
family. You
house,
got
girl.
bonus kids.
We have
Yeah.
5 human beings in this house.
And I don't care what anybody says. When you have more people, when you have, a significant other that comes in, right? When you have bonus children that come in, it changes
It
everything.
shifts,
And
girl. It
it's not
shifts.
in a bad way unless you don't plan
Right.
and
It's
you
just
don't
a
think things out.
change.
Because
Right.
sometimes, how those children operate during the week is different how they have to operate on the weekend at your house or
Very
vice
much
versa how
so.
they operate at your house during the week. It's like it's totally different on the weekend and we can't
Right.
control that, but let's all if we got to
Excuse me.
deprogram or reprogram when you come here, let's do that so that this house continues to flow. Kids are
Right.
very resilient in that way where they can do it, but when you have more people coming in, now it's okay, dinner has to be started earlier because we got more people to feed. That means it's going to take longer to cook. That
Right.
means like, okay, now we got a little bit more help on this other end where like somebody can vacuum, somebody can clean the table, somebody can, do
Yeah.
make sure the couches are good.
Right.
So that's
Right.
another thing. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
it's still a
Right.
change and it has
It's
to
a
be
change.
addressed
Right. Right.
and
Yes. Yes.
agreed to. Like so
Say that part. Yeah. It's not like, oh,
mothers,
I told him. I told him. Whoa. What
wives,
did he? What did he say back?
right. But also
What
like
was their
even our
response back?
children, there has to be a buy-in. Like when we are struggling with they won't listen, they don't do it. I told them 100 times, probably because they never agreed to this. So the agreement is not, hey, can you do this and please because I no, it's not that, but it is these are your responsibilities. Is there anything on this list that you feel you can't do? Is there
Well, I
anything
will
on this
rephrase
list?
because the Donna Mama brain turn because I like what do you mean? What do you mean agreed? So let's kind of
Well,
pull it back. Let's rewind just a little bit, just a little bit. So there is a part of
I'm gonna
do
stick
you
to
understand
agreed.
how to do this correctly? Did you hear what I said? Because for the kids, okay, what did you hear that you were told that you're supposed to do? And they may
Okay.
say two out of the three things. Very good on the two. Here's your third one that you may not have heard. And let me go into detail and showing you or reminding you these are the steps that needs to be done to ensure that you did it correctly.
Yeah,
Because if you don't do it
let me
correctly,
remind
that
you of
means
this
it was
third
not
one.
done. Okay. So
Okay. So, all right. Because I was standing strong on agreement. And I
yes,
get it because it's not like they can say, no, I'm not doing it. But I think that having their buy-in, like understanding, because they're people too. Remember, I say this all the
they are
time.
people.
They are people too. And
They
so
are.
if the kid didn't walk the dog and now there's a dog and now they gotta walk the dog every
But
day,
that's
they
true.
gonna
Yeah.
be a little mad. Like that's because
Every
they're not
single
in
time.
agreement. You
Yes.
understand what I'm
Yes. I
saying?
understand that.
Now, you might not be in agreement that you got to clean the toilet, but you set your behind on it every day. So you
Right.
going to
Right.
participate and
Yes.
you're not going to have to do it. Like, so
Correct.
okay, agreement may not be the best word, but I definitely think that we need to have the
Understand. That's
buy-in and the
about
understanding.
yes.
And then, if, let them know upfront what the consequences are to not following through, to not getting things done, and then implementing those consequences. The same way with a spouse, excuse me, it's still consequences, right? But how you implement and all that, like it has to be different because you can't treat your
Yeah.
spouse like he's one of the children. But you can treat the
Say
children.
that again. Say
You
that
cannot
again.
treat your spouse like he is one
Yes.
of the children. That being said, you need to treat your children just as well as you treat your spouse.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Because never should, and I'm gonna say this because when bonus children come in, you're also dealing with another bonus parent. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's an additional
Yeah,
person.
they're
And
right,
so how
right.
you treat my
The co
child when she over there is gonna definitely
it's
have a
good.
consequence and a reflection and all that stuff. Because when she come home and say, Mama, this right here,
Yes.
come on, let's have this conversation. But at the same time, okay, well, if the expectation is that you clean up your
Right.
room. If you
Right.
got to
Right.
participate in cleaning the kitchen, clean the kitchen. If you got to do
Right.
the bath, now if you being treated like Cinderella, that's different.
It's a totally different right. That is different. But like you said, there should be the conversation. And it should
Right.
be a family conversation. And I
Yes.
use the word family meeting a lot because meaning it's a unit. It's not a
Yes.
I said. Granted, in the meeting, maybe you may say I said. However,
But it's a
everyone
we
in the
sin. We are
present,
in
right,
agreement.
in
Yeah.
right. And then within that, and I'm a go over here and come back over here real quick is
Okay.
that when you're communicating and when you're being very specific on what the expectation is for your children, you need to be very clear. Okay, clear on what you expect of them and clear that they know how to do it in the way in which you're expecting them to do it. And the way that that happens is that you show them. Okay,
Yes.
also with that is that there should be options. The options may not be ideal to the children, but as a parent, it's an option. So it can be, first thing in the morning on Saturday, boom, this is happening. You have the option to do that in the morning, but come Saturday, 8 o'clock that night, it needs to be done. So that
Right.
doesn't exclude if we have activities. It doesn't mean that the things that other activities or events that are being scheduled to as an excuse as to why it didn't get done. So being clear in that realm, but bringing it back to in regards to with your spouse, you have to communicate. Um, Also, I spoke about that hard truth. You know your spouse. So you know if you are able to communicate in a way for yourself, because we all about our ownership of our part in it as well. If you're not
Mhm.
able to communicate in a way that you feel will be received for whatever reason, and vice versa. Let's say that your partner is saying, excuse me, your spouse is saying, you're doing too much, and you not
Mhm.
letting go of the reins. And you guys have been on a merry-go-round of this same conversation, then it's to a point to where you do need to get some type of outside help. It may
Yes.
be your spiritual leader. It may be a good friend who is able to be unbiased. It may be professional help. Either way it goes, you need someone else to step in to help kind of navigate that. And sometimes when
Right.
you hear other people's situation, you realize, oh, we're not there yet. We
Facts.
or are we not there at all and don't want to get there, and you might get some act right, your ears might turn on and actually start listening, and your body might be behaving, so but it may get to a point to where you didn't may need that outside support
Yes.
to get to where the marriage is a partnership and not
Right.
a married mom, married single mom, girl, you know how you
Right.
can create new
Right.
words
But
situation.
I want to say, because you said something that triggered a thought in me, because
Mhm.
you can be a married single mom because you won't adjust and adapt
Right.
to what is happening. Now, my growing up, my mother was like, "Hey, by 8 o'clock, everybody is up and dressed. Now you can get up, take your shower, you can put on some fresh pajamas and get back into bed. But if we gotta roll
Yeah.
out, you need to be showered minimum, right?
Right.
Now, my solution to that to this day is I am up and showered by 7 a.m. every morning.
And that she is. I'm like, I need 10 more minutes.
Danielle, Danielle, listen, don't,
I'm coming. I'm
and
coming.
she ain't even in her REM sleep at 7, okay? That is the thing. But when you're doing a blended family, my stepbrothers wasn't up at 7.
And Shar,
So now
yeah,
my mom is irritated. Like, wait, like the house ain't like it's the
right.
balance
The
is off. But
functioning,
you got, you know what I'm saying? But she had to let that go because
right.
that
Yes.
this is not how they function.
They were parented
And I don't get to
differently.
say this is my house, so everybody functions the way I do. That's not
You have to
realistic
adjust.
either.
Thank you for saying that. That is so true. You have to adjust. And as being the adult, you
Come
have the
on now.
capacity to understand it's a choice. You may not
Yeah.
like it. Everything that any bonus parent, even just parenting your own child, hell, you're not going to like everything.
Facts. Cause
However,
here, Kayla gotta get up. We
right.
now at her dad's house, and her dad is an
It
early
may be.
riser, but at her dad's house, she can sleep till
It
she wakes up. Here, nah, baby, cause it's stuff to be done. Now, it's
right.
stuff I need to get done. That wasn't something I had to realize. It ain't even nothing for her to do. Like her room clean, her bathroom clean. Like there's
Right.
nothing going on. The house is done. I want her up because I want her up. I want her up
Yeah.
because I'm up. That's not okay.
It's not
I
okay.
get if I want
Right.
to be up, I
Exactly.
get up. Because
Right.
I can
Right.
always go back to bed when I feel like it. Because
Right.
again, I'm already showered. I
Right.
put on me some
You already clean.
leggings and a
Right. Right.
t-shirt. Like I can
Right.
slide back into bed if I want to. But that's how I function. I'm up
Right.
at 3:30
Exactly.
every morning. That's how I
Girl.
function.
Yeah, that's what I'm not. Okay.
But
But I
because
get
I'm
it.
up so early and I'm doing all the things, I feel like, oh man, when I'm up, like I want things in order, but
In
that's
place.
my
Yeah.
issue. That's not her
Right.
thing.
As I tell my clients, that's a you thing respectfully. That's a you thing. So
Right.
you figure it out.
Yes. Yes. I love that. I love this conversation.
Yeah, so with that, and there were a few more things, but with that, as a way of avoiding or minimizing, just preventing resentment, being overwhelmed, causing tension and conflict within your marriage, excuse me, the guilt, the anxiety, all the things that we spoke of. First, we encourage you to have that conversation. Be real with yourself, okay?
Yes.
Of how you know you can communicate, how receptive your spouse is, but also the areas that you know that you struggle in. If you
Mm-hmm.
know that you're not an in the moment communicator, then don't be trying to in the moment communicate because it's going to lead to an argument. There's no resolution. If you don't have this, you want to share, go ahead, share.
No.
Okay.
So like if you're not an in the moment communicator, don't be in the moment communicating. You
Because we have,
creating drama.
well, in that you are reacting to your emotions, and there is no rationality that's actually happening in that moment. But
Right.
um and we've kind of give very examples, but give options or conflict resolution, problem
Mm-hmm.
solving,
Right.
adjusting. One day may be different from the next day, the following week, and be understanding. And this is
Yeah.
for both. This is for both parties, both parts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully this started a good conversation, or is a good conversation starter in regards to what the week's going to look like, or even just ongoing.
Right.
So if you are that married single mom, you got another task on your to-do list. You need to start talking. You need to start communicating
Yes. And being honest
and being
about what's
honest.
really happening and understanding how you're contributing to what's happening.
Yeah,
That's a big thing. I know people don't like to hear that.
yeah, yeah.
Don't make it less true. All right.
Yes. But we all have our part. We all do. We all play a part.
Hopefully
We
this
all
helped.
do.
Drop us a note. Send us an
Yes.
email to the real on parenting at gmail.com. See, I
Gmail.com.
was about to be
Yes.
like, Coach Kiana here. We will check you guys out on the next episode of The Real on Parenting. I am Coach Kiana Shaw, and this is my co-host.
Therapist Danielle.
We are The Real
Everybody.
on Parenting. See you later.